Hello, my name is Mandolin Royal, and today it's the week 4 weigh day for the chicks from Recreational Homestead. They're feathering in pretty good. They're eating a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and get set up with my little catch basket. And after this video, I'm going to start going over the spreadsheet and showing you the data so far. And it's really interesting. And I'm going to take some more notes as we get through some more chicks. I have them split between 2 different brooders so that they have a lot more space. As I empty this brooder out and I get them all weighed and put into a tote, that's when I'm going to go ahead and clean this thing out, refill it with fresh peat moss, clean out the drinker, refill the feed, and do that whole thing. I have 2 scales today because a friend of mine up in New Jersey sent a new one. That'll fix my problem I was having with my grams not reading on mine. And I still have this one here to see if it's weighing the same as this one for a little side science project to make sure that we're accurate thus far. I have my 2 totes. Anybody promising, I'll put in one so we can talk about those. The rest of them that are average, they're going to go in the other tote and they'll wait there while I get everything cleaned out. I'm excited. They've had a whole other week to eat a lot more feed. And the data, wait till I show you. We'll get there. I'm going to put that on the end. So there's my catch basket in action, blocking them into a easy to get to corner. And I verified the accuracy of my scale, and I'm going to use it for ounces because I didn't like the way this one was doing the ounces. And I went ahead and I did the first chick, and they are every bit as chill as mine. There she is, 292 grams. Making this easy. And she feels pretty good, actually. Her legs are starting to turn blue. And the temperament is pretty comparable, which makes me happy because I love my birds. Alright, moving on. So I got done with the top shelf brooder, and this is my favorite pair from going through them this time. It is subject to change because these guys are still very young at 4 weeks old, but they seem to be the most promising in the group. So this pullet, she weighed in at 344 grams. Her band is yellow number 6. But let me show you how the bands are doing because I am really happy with this. Hold still, hold still. You're all right. So that's where it went in. It's all healed up. There's play in here. I kind of worry about snagging, but once it's covered in feathers, it probably won't be a problem. In hindsight, maybe a corresponding leg band for faster ID once they do get feathered in. But the way that this little one feels, she was the heaviest girl. I like this a lot. And she has her leg color coming in good. Her body seems long enough right now. Her keel feels nice and straight. Pretty good fleshing. Her head looks nice. I like her. This boy, I think he was the favorite from last week. I don't have last week's notes on me, but this is band BL5, and that number sounds familiar. He's got a lot of substance coming up with him. Why is your crop empty? You're supposed to be eating much more. They have really good vigor, really good temperaments. I'm liking these. All right, I'm gonna move on to the second brooder and see what we find in there. This guy was second biggest, but he has much better leg color coming in. And when I'm sorting through birds, I'm looking for the very best of the best. And so far, this is the best pair that are showing the most promise at this age. We'll see if anyone else catches up with them, and we'll see what we find in that next brooder. So I ended up finding 3 favorites, with the little pullet trying to escape. So this big guy right here in front, he wins the award for biggest baby today, and he weighs in at 15 ounces, which is 427 grams. The other male tucked in behind him, he weighs 360 grams, which is 12.625 ounces. And the pullet, 311 grams, which is 11.125 ounces. So she's not quite as large as the other pullet, but I like how she's shaping up. I like how curious she is too, and that leg color is coming in good. Now, the struggle between these boys, and you may very well encounter this struggle yourself, is do you sacrifice size and fleshing for color, or do you opt for more correct color and sacrifice a little on the size? So this big guy, his toes are pink, and I struggle with that in my line too. It persists because I kept focusing on table traits. I should have had it out of my line by now, but at the end of the day, we got to fill the freezer. So do I do it differently this time and look for the more correct, even coloration? This guy still has some more darkening to do yet, but that's a tough call. So that's why I don't make final decisions anytime soon, and I give everybody the benefit of the doubt to keep on growing and to show me what they're made of. And having these notes like this, by tracking their growth and seeing who did what and when and all of that, that's going to help when decision time comes. I do like their temperament, but I'm pretty sure I said that already. Now, when I was feeling on them, they're all feeling pretty long in the body. Pretty good fleshing. Just being goofy babies. So we'll see. Alright, I'm gonna put these guys away and show you what came out of the cleanup, so you know what the peat moss looks like and how it responds to carrying a load of babies on it. Alright, everything's all cleaned up, refilled everything. We got some eating, some dust bathing, and it looks like for the gender split, since I did a preliminary gender sort while I was weighing everybody, it looks like it's gonna be 15 pullets and 14 cockerels. This one being nosy looks like a pullet. Alright, moving on to the numbers. Alright, now we're into the spreadsheet. This is from the first weigh-in, because I want to catch everybody up in case you didn't catch that first video where I was starting in the spreadsheet. So the first week, this is our ounce totals, our grams, our averages. Down here, I needed the total in pounds so I can do the feed conversion rate. So for that second week, the feed conversion was 3.5. Now it gets interesting as I go into additional weeks. Oh, $1.40 expense that first week. So now we're into where the data starts to develop. So our cost for the second week was $3.64. It was an 81% increase over the week prior for how much feed they consumed, with an average gain of 66% for their weight. Right there's our average in grams, 112 for week 2. So as we go through into week 3, that was a cost of $7.28. Now again, this is for 29 total chicks. There was a 100% feed increase, and we had an FCR of 1.18. And that is taking into account our beginning weight and the end weight and the total amount of feed consumed. So the growth spurts going on here causes the numbers to shift around as they get through additional growth. So now, coming into week 4, the FCR is a 2.82. Our total cost so far, $21.64. And week 4 was $9.36 of that, with a 28% increase of feed. Now their average gain percent is 49%. Here's our total weights. Our average grams, 302. Average ounces, 10.5. For a grand total of 19.125 pounds of chicken for all 29. We're still at a 100% survival rate, which is really cool. This is fascinating. I am so glad I am doing this as detailed as I can be. Now, as far as the birds themselves, I started indicating favorites with this blue coloration, and these are my favorites from today. Now, since I didn't have my notes for who was a prior favorite, I grabbed my notes when I got to the spreadsheet, and I put a blue marker on who a prior favorite was. Some of them are the same, and there's new ones. I'm trying to watch my mouse through the camera. This is tricky. It's going to get trickier still as I fill this in, so I started another column with their IDs to avoid scrolling so far. So every other week, I'm going to duplicate that information to make this a little easier. So the gain percentages, there's some fluctuation in there, which is normal because this is an as-hatched group of chicks out of multiple breeding pens. And since Recreational Homestead does do a spiral breeding program, they maintain diversity, and with diversity, you see a lot more variables. So this is expected. And I've got my calls from earlier indicated, but now, looking at this, I think I'm going to remove that designation because they're catching up. So that's cool. And then when we look at this week's gain percent average at 49%, if anything, I should start looking for the ones who aren't keeping up now that they are through those initial first couple of weeks, because you have those first 2 to 3 weeks to really set the stage for growth. And this data is supporting that with the dip in the gain percent. We're already past that window. So we're not going to see those big gains anymore. Technically. Like this chick that had a 105% increase, 100%. This one, 146%, was a favorite this time, BL5. So cockerel. Still keeping my eye on that one, and he was a favorite today. But now he's at 59% because it's just where they are in their development for their age. I am really pleased with this, though. Not bad. All right. I'm not going to get more technical until I have more data. So more on this later. Feel free to like and subscribe as we figure out what our actual feed investment is to get these birds grown to freezer age. And that's going to give us our feed conversion rate. So more on this later.